Welcome to Inside the Mind, a podcast hosted by myself, Jennifer Forster, and my beautiful co-host, Allie May. We're excited to be here, diving into edgy, raw, and relatable conversations woven together with mind-blowing questions that will shake up your model of the world, expand your thinking, unravel your beliefs, tease apart your patterns, and walk you to the very edges of everything you've ever believed about yourself.
As NLP trainers, coaches, entrepreneurs, we will be traversing the topics of business, relationships, money, family, spirituality, leadership, and personal growth, all through the discerning lens of NLP, ancient teachings, and a healthy sprinkling of womanly wisdom. One thing we believe to be true is that if we want a different outcome, we must be willing to ask a different question. And the answers to those questions are always inside the mind.
Hello, extraordinary humans, and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Mind. My name is Jen Forster. This is my beautiful co-host, Allie May, and we've got another juicy little episode for you today. So today we want to talk about the concept of the three minds. Allie, what does that even mean? What do we mean when we say that?
Firstly, we're going to pre-frame that this is not, so conscious mind and unconscious mind, NLP. Higher conscious self, higher conscious mind, I'm going to refer to it as higher conscious self, is not NLP. So today we're going to be touching on some things that are NLP and some things that are not NLP. Our three minds, if we look at them like that, I'm going to do this with hand movements. For those of you that are listening, not watching our YouTube channel, you'll just have to imagine this yourself. And I'm going to do it for myself with hand gestures. So if you were to look at three tennis balls, pop one on the ground, and that is our unconscious mind. Put another one on top, and that is our conscious mind. And pop another one on top of that, and that is our higher conscious mind, our higher conscious self. When we look at these three aspects of ourselves, for those of you that have been following us for quite some time now, you will have heard us talk a lot about the unconscious mind and conscious mind. Just to give a little recap, the unconscious mind is our feeling self, and the conscious mind is our logical thinking part, rational part of us. And figuring out mind, I like to call my conscious mind. Yeah, I like that too. And then there's, of course, the observer, ourself, like who we truly are as someone that can witness these parts of ourselves. And we're not taught how to have relationships with these sides of ourselves. We're not taught that all of our emotion is stored at the unconscious mind level. So we've touched on this multiple times in many of our previous episodes. If you're new here, you might like to go back and have a listen. So with the unconscious mind, in it being our emotional self, the unconscious mind is beautifully connected directly with the higher conscious self. Those two can communicate with each other. Higher conscious self is collective consciousness. It's all that is. When we look at that aspect of ourselves.
Could be the quantum in some models of the world as well. I'm just, like having a bit of an explore here, because it could be, but we're going to say higher self, but it could be in your model of the world, Christ consciousness, collective consciousness, source, the quantum, the galactic world. Like it could be any of those things, couldn't it?
It could be. And our higher conscious self, the way I see it, is that our higher conscious self is connected to one or all of those that you just mentioned, Jen.
Yeah.
Depending on what you believe in. So with the unconscious mind and the higher conscious self being connected, there's no connection between the conscious mind and
the higher self.
And when we learn how to create and have a relationship with our unconscious mind, and our conscious mind learns how to have a relationship with the unconscious mind, we open up access, I would say like a clear, clean, congruent gateway through, if we're looking at the tennis balls again, the unconscious mind, the conscious mind, and the higher conscious self. Now, why would we want to do that? Why would we want to be able to have a beautiful connection between all of them? So we can live the life that we truly desire. What tends to happen is, as human beings, we get stuck in the unconscious mind stuff. We get stuck in, I'm not good enough, I'm not valuable, I don't belong, I can't have what I want. We get stuck in past emotions, negative emotions, anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt. There's a bunch more. We get stuck in those. We get stuck in the limiting beliefs. And so we walk around as adults stuck in unconscious mind emotions and beliefs. And when we're stuck in those spaces, when we're blaming other people for why our life is the way it is, when we're stuck in trauma, when we're stuck in all of that, we're not easily able to access our higher conscious self, which links us into everything that's possible for us. It links us into our manifestation. It links us into all of possibility. It links us into having an exceptional relationship with money, which is an episode coming up. We're going to be diving into money as well. It opens us up to everything that we cannot see, to our relationship with source, God, however you want to coin that. Now, while we are stuck in that unconscious mind state, we're blocking off the supply to, if you will, to the higher conscious mind. Now, how do we create this connection with the higher conscious self, the higher conscious mind? We clear up the shit that's in the unconscious mind. How do we clear up the shit that's in the unconscious mind? You come and do a training with Jen and I, and you learn timeline therapy. That's the simplest way to do it. And actually, I don't know of any other ways. I mean, you can go to other trainers. If you want to go to other trainers, go to other trainers. And other than that, I don't know how else we can. And I've invested in a lot of programs and trainings, and I've never found anything that comes close to what timeline therapy does for us. So when we clean up the unconscious mind, when we're no longer stuck in patterns, programs, limitations, negative emotions, trauma, when we're no longer stuck in that, we have this like open access to everything else that's around us. We're able to create, we're able to be, we're able to have what it is that we truly desire, whether it's business, whether it's relationship, it doesn't matter which area it is, but we open the access to all of that. Now, what needs to happen for the flow as well is the conscious mind, and we did a whole episode on this, the conscious mind does not trust that the unconscious mind knows what it knows. So even though all of our emotion is stored in the unconscious mind, and all of our past patterns, programs, memories, all of that is stored there, it's also our intuition. It's also, our unconscious mind knows everything, and it has so much value, gold, expansion for us. And what tends to happen is when we're in the conscious mind state, when we're in the thinking, when we're in the analytical, when we're in the doing state, we're not tapping into those parts of ourselves, and we think we know everything. We think we know best. So in order for us to have this free flow access between the three, the conscious mind needs to learn to trust the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind is like a child. It gets to trust that the conscious mind has its back as well.
It is very much a co-creative relationship. Something that came through that I'd love to add in there. If you are someone who is really good at setting goals, meaning saying you're going to do something, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. and I'm going to start training for a marathon, or I'm going to start reaching out to prospects for my business. If you're really good at being able to state the things that you want to have in your life, and yet there is a mismatch in being able to bring those into your reality, it's because your conscious mind is the goal setter and your unconscious mind is the goal getter. So if there is a mismatch between what the conscious mind is seeking, and if there's a belief, a limiting belief, or a value that's not aligned, or whatever it might be, or a negative emotion in the unconscious mind, using Allie's analogy there of the small child. So there's a small child that might be a little bit scared, or we can't do that because we're not supposed to have a lot of money. We can't do that because whatever limiting beliefs and negative emotions often come from phrases like, I can't do or have that, or I can do or have that. So if there's something in the unconscious mind that won't allow the conscious mind to bring the thing into fruition, then the work gets to be done in the unconscious mind, right? Yeah. So I love Allie's analogy as well around the conduit. So I think of the channel. You said channel. I think of, if you think of it like a downpipe on a house. I'm like the queen of metaphors, don't I?
You are the queen of
metaphors. Great metaphor for everything. If you think of the downpipe on a house, right? So the downpipe is all clogged up with leaves and muck and whatever's, come through over the years. And it's clogged up the gutters of the roof, and in turn, it's then clogged up the downpipe as well. Think of that downpipe as the conduit between your unconscious mind and your higher self. You cannot hear or receive anything that's up above the roof of the house. Nothing can come down that downpipe if it's all clogged up. And that's essentially what is going on for most of us in our minds. That conduit is so clogged up with limiting beliefs, limiting decisions, negative emotions, misaligned values, values that are not even ours, meta programs that don't even belong to us. They were given to us by someone else. Think of that as they're the leaves and the muck. Timeline therapy can clear that conduit, clear that channel so that you get a free flow of information from higher self, the collective consciousness, in my beautiful metaphor, the skies, right? Everything that's in the sky that could come down that downpipe can now come down that downpipe, right? And everything can go up to it as well. So it cleans that conduit. So that's my metaphor on that.
I love your metaphors.
Yeah.
Yes, you are definitely the queen of metaphors, Jen.
I am. It's just, I think it's a gift. It really is a gift. I never used to see it this way, but it is a gift of the way my mind works, in how I take information in and I see it as a story, and I can see it as a pictures, and oh, that would be like this. Yeah, I am. I'm the queen of metaphors.
Yes, you are. So that is a little bit about the creating a connection with the three minds and why we would want to do that.
Yes, one of the phrases you and I say to each other often on our daily downloads and phone calls. They're phone calls really, but they're just like daily channelings and downloads and massive cleanups and all things. We say this a lot. We'll start a conversation with, oh my God, the veil's really fucking thin today. The veil's really fucking thin today. Which we just actually, what we really mean when we say that is we're hearing stuff that's otherworldly. It's the only other way I can really, and by hear, I mean feel, sense, notice. You know, you might notice things as synchronistic. You know, one of my favorite hashtags is YCMTSU, which just stands for you can't make this shit up. But when that's happening, this channel to your higher conscious self, to me, is allowing all of that information, all of those synchronicities, all of those manifestations, all of those alignments, all of those beautiful, beautiful co-creations that feel effortless and easy. That's what allows that to happen. Have you ever been in a really sweet spot in life where everything just flowed and felt easy? For me, that is generally because you're tapped into higher conscious self, higher self. How do we do that? By making sure that the unconscious mind is squeaky fucking clean.
And if you already have access to your higher conscious self and your downpipes aren't squeaky clean, imagine what would be possible if they were.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, imagine. What are you not hearing? What are you not receiving? Think of it like an antenna in many ways as well. If your antenna is squeaky clean, what frequencies and vibrations can you pick up? You then become the magnet. This is manifestation 101 to me. This is, to me, why I see people becoming disillusioned with manifestation or playing the manifestation game and not getting any results, because you're playing the manifestation game from the conscious mind. Conscious mind can't access a higher self. That can only happen through the unconscious mind. So if you're playing the manifestation game from the conscious mind, your manifestations might feel really, really hard, or you might have been trying to manifest something for years and it's just not happening. My suggestion would be that there's something in the unconscious mind that just won't let it be easy.
Yeah, I've got this download. It's like tapping in the background. It's so funny.
Bring it on in, woman. Bring it on in.
I love when my higher self brings things in. There's a lot of people that are highly spiritual that have access to mediumship and psychic abilities that are broke as fuck. Now, I can speak to this because I have psychic abilities and mediumship abilities. I've studied in that realm as well. And I know a lot of people that are in that realm. And a lot of people are fucking broke. Why? Yes, you've got access to higher conscious self, or you've got access to what appears to be higher conscious self or other realms. However, if you do not have what you want, if you still do not have what you want, then there's shit playing out in the unconscious mind. And that's where, if you desire to have more in your life, to be more in your life, to do more in your life, to create more in your life, where our body of work can come in to support you with that.
Yes, ma'am. Any other pieces to add to that?
No, that one feels complete.
It does feel really complete for me too. If you have any questions, of course, about any of our episodes, we are very accessible, you and I, aren't we? Across Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, my gosh, anywhere. Slide on into our DMs.
You said that so sexy,
I know, I've
Jen.
always wanted to say it. I've actually always wanted to say it. Slide on into my DMs, our DMs, whatever.
And Jen is single at the
single at the
time of recording this.
So so if anyone does want to slide into my DM, I'm just like twirling my finger now on my notebook. No. And seriously, slide on into my DMs. No. And yes. And no.
And yes, please. If you are a beautiful human
conscious man. I am looking for my Mr. Girthy.
Ooh.
What is Mr. Girthy? He's grounded and earthy. My Mr. Girthy. My beautiful son, would-be son, named him Mr. Girthy. So I'm looking for a Mr. Girthy. Slide on in. This is going to be so whack when this episode comes out. I'm just going to say this is going to be really, I can see myself in the future reeling when I hear myself saying this on this episode. Anywho, if you have any questions, Mr. Girthy, if you have questions, you definitely can slide into my DMs. If anyone else has any other questions around any of our content, any of our episodes, any of our events or trainings, you can slide into our DMs as well.
Actually, I'm putting a side caveat in. No, you cannot slide into my DM unless you have a question about our work and what we do in our podcast.
Yes, that's right. No Mr. Girthy's at all into Allie's DMs.
Or Mrs. Girthy's or
Mrs.
Ms.
Girthy's.
or
Yep.
however you relate to yourself. Thanks.
Exactly. On a serious note, if you have any questions about wanting to be in one of our training rooms, and of course, why wouldn't you? Why would you not want to be in one of our training rooms? We do it differently. We do this work so differently to other trainers out there. There's no good or bad, right or wrong. I just know we do it differently because we #GGAF.
Genuinely give a fuck.
On that note, see you on the next episode.
Catch you then.